Welcome Scout Leaders, another ScoutWorks tutorial here. This time we're going to be looking into the leadership side of things. So parents, you don't need to watch this. This won't help you unless you go on to get involved. So currently we're looking at the standard dashboard, and on the left side of the screen we've got all the different menus. To kick this series off, we're going to dive into the people stuff. So this will involve everything that involves the young people's details, any leaders that you've got within the teams, your patrols, and your young leaders. So let's dive in. Just want to say again that all the details on here are completely made up thanks to Microsoft's Copilot. So if there happens to be a name that's like, wait, I know that person, you don't. And with it being AI generated, you will have some very odd age ranges linking to sections. Like, first one on this list is Bob Smith, who is 8 and 2 months and a scout. Obviously, leaders, we all know that anyone this age would be a cub, but because this is all AI generated, I couldn't be bothered going in and doing all the ages manually. So first off is the stand members, which will show everyone you've got within either your section or group if you were the admins, and you can filter it by the name alphabetically, their section, so beavers through to scouts or young leaders / explorers if you're a joint group and run like that, their role within their patrol, 6 whatever, lodge or dray, and then you can filter it by said dray, lodge, 6 patrol, and then their age. You can also change it, so if you want to see who's been in the group the longest, you can also do that, and current section, gender, and all the others. And you can also add other stuff if you wanted, but that is for your choice, and you can choose what options are displayed and whether you want it compact or cozy, and also whether you want it in a table view or as the cards. So with this you can also have a quick edit. So if you wanted to do a bulk gender change, for instance, you can, or bulk section role, easy as using the edit mode. So on the top you've got 5 different menus: the members, which I've just shown you, attendance, which we'll get into in a bit, sharing and transfer, parents, and any reports. So start off with attendance. So as I'm using my group admin / group lead volunteer testing account, I have access to all the sections, so beavers, cubs, scouts, and as we've got young leaders, them as well. You can view the overall attendance, members tracked, anyone who needs attention, and any events held. Moving below, you can see it per section. So currently, as we haven't had any sessions, everyone's been absent except for one of my test young leaders, which I showed you in the previous videos looking at the parent portal with the signing up. Moving on to the sharing and transfer. So if you are, this is going to be primarily for the young leaders, as they are members of a district young leader unit, they will be kept there and then shared into groups, or the other way around, depending on how you do it. So later I'll show how to share the members. Then you've got all your parents for your sectional group and who the children is. So first one on the list is someone called Aisha Harris. You can see email, the children, and then the section, and it links into the child, and then whether they've been invited to the system or not. So as these are example ones, I'm not going to send the invite, but I'll show you how you can. So if you're going to do bulk ones, you can select everyone, then and then with these three dots you can edit parent. So if the email lot is incorrect, you can do that. For the name, the email, you can send the invite and then message them. So obviously, as their fake email addresses, it failed, but if they work, then it would have a pop-up saying email sent successfully. And then these would change to a green for active once they've submitted it. You've got an orange inactive, and then I believe the invited is still grey, although I might be incorrect on that. Moving across, then we've got reports. So everyone's favourite bit. So first you've got the members roster. So this will have a full export of every active member with personal info, parents, medical data, addresses, and badges. Used for end of year audit and OSM reconciliation. And that will be as a CSV file. You've got the emergency contact directory. So this is what you'll be taking to camps, which will show what's in the emergency contact. So you've got their name, phone number, email, and relationship to the child. So if signal is unreliable, you've got a paper copy of who you would need to contact. You've got a consent registry because, well, everyone needs that quick double check. Can so-and-so be in photos online? That will show it all. Same with medical stuff to see whether leaders can give certain stuff. Then you've got the census reports. So every leader's favorite time of year. And for a demo, I'll show you what that is. So usually their religion, any disabilities, the ages, and then the gender. Then you've got leavers report. So if there's any members due to reach their section's upper age limit within the chosen window, that is when you can plan the move up and stuff. If there's a bunch, then you could go do a big ceremony. So then you've got photo cards. So as it says in the small print, these are printable cards with each member's photo and name, which can be stuck on the tent or dorm room or doors at camps. And then members without photos will get initial cards. So as a test, you can show what you want. So first names, I'm just going to do young leaders because they're small, and then the size, and then you can even group it by their stuff, and then it will show like this. And then the last one is the OSM import file. So this will help you import any of your OSM members over here. So you can export members as an OSM import. Actually, my mistake. This is the other way around. So if you've been using ScoutWorks and decided it's not for your group and you want to go back to OSM, then this is how you do it. And you can select all of them that you've got access to, and it'll be an Excel file. And then if there's any report that you think is missing, then you can share that idea, and then people can vote on it. Moving down, you've got the waiting list, which I'll say I love how it was done. So this is the basic page which will show all the members, and under waiting list actions you've got add to waiting list, import, copy the link, and then export. But before we dive into those, go into the settings. So you can change the priority. So this is what you've got: leaders, child, aging out, sibling, local, helper parent, and standard. So, and you can change that all around as well. And then be sure to save it. Then you've got your individual section settings. So if you're a large group that has multiple of the one section, you can do that and change and do a name. So say Maple Pack, for instance. Then you can select the age group, change the color. So their default branding is slightly off for some of them, but let's just go for that color. Then you can select when they meet, the location, their capacity, and who's in it. So select the team lead and any additional leaders. So this is where the young leaders would be selected, and then any of the lodges, sixes, or patrols, you can input them in there. Then as a default you've got all 5 set up, and then this is named explorers, but I changed it to young leaders. So edit it, you can change the name, the age range, color, just as you would if you were creating one. And then you have a link that you can share through Facebook, WhatsApp, email, or any website with no technical setup. And if your Scout group uses Scout pages for their website, then they've got the group ID that you can put it in. Or if you're not using Scout Pages and you've got a different website, then you've got a HTML input, and then you've got some platform-specific notes if you need help. So for my personal Scout group, we use WordPress, and then that's how it would be. And then for custom styling, so if you are a tech wizard and know what you're doing, this is what it is, and you'd be changing the 3 hex codes I've just highlighted. But that's technical stuff that I'm not going to bore you with. Let's go to the funner bit. So if I were to be adding a person to my waiting list, then I can do it so easy as this. So input the name. So I'm just going to use the ones I suggested. Oliver Smith, and a random date of birth 06/08 2014. Then parent stuff, I'm just going to use one of my personal ones. Then the target section, so if my math is correct, it would be going to cups. And then you can send an invite to the parent so they can track. So now we got someone on, we'll have this. So best thing is that you can triage them, which, yes, sounds like a medical term, which usually is, but in this case it will easily decide the priority and stuff. But first you need to do the team lead. So I'm just going to quickly input myself as it. One more. So moving back to the waiting list, now with the section leaders in place, I was going to say we can triage them, but forgot a meeting time for the cups. So okay, let me just go Thursday. That's why it didn't save. Update. Bingo. Now we should be able to triage them. Yes, we can. Brilliant. So once you go into triage, you will have a pop-up like this. You'll be able to see the young person's name, age, the preferred days, which has been taken out from what I've heard, but it'd be linked to the section, the parent contact details, the target section, which you can change, so it'll show all the ones that you've got listed in your group and then which one would be the best match. So as he is 11, it'd be a scout. Then the priority, so we've got leader's child, aging out, sibling, local and standard. If you don't click anything, it will be based on the application's data. So I'm going to say this one's local, and then you can select the earliest start. So I'm just going to go for the 1st of September this year, and then you can even add a note for your leaders, and it's only visible to your team. And then there we go, he's in. So from here you can change its status, so you can do contacted, offered, which will involve sending an email, then accepted, which will change automatically if they've done it, joined, expired, declined, deferred, withdrawn, and returning member, which I haven't yet experienced that one, if I'm all honest. Then over here you can view their details in a much larger thing, the planning bit, the timeline, and then any notes. You can contact parents, then send the invite, assign them to a leader. So if you had multiple that were for cubs, then you can assign them to that section's leader for them to go through the application stage for them. You can change the priority, send an offer and ask if you're still interested, or delete them. That sums up the waiting list side. Moving down to the capacity planning. So this is one that I haven't dabbled in, but it takes approximately 2 minutes to set up. So once you click get started, this is what you'll get. So section capacities, priority rules, movement approach, yada yada. So you can change the max per section. So this may be based on the number of leaders you've got, size of space, or just how well the leaders can cope with numbers of children. So you can do that, and then it will show how many sections, how many members, and the total capacity. And then this bar will be different depending on how it is. And then the capacities are pulled from the group settings under sections. So if you think you've got a way higher one, you can change it, both here and down there. So then you've got your priority rules, which came from the waiting list. And then you've got fixed date. So then you've got the approach. So this may be based on your group decision. So you could have a fixed date and move everyone at the same time. So it could be start of a new term or school year, pick a date and review all of them. Or it'd be a rolling approach. So move members as and when places are available or the young person ages out of their current section. Movements are actioned individually throughout the year. So I'm going to stick with the fixed date, mainly because it's recommended and I think it works better. So you can select the next movement date. So in this case it would be start of September. Then you can input the window. So a friendlier name for this movement window. Leave blank for auto-generated one. So I'm just going to leave it. And then moving on period. When members move up, let them join their new section while staying in their old one for a few weeks. So the change feels gradual. So usually it is 4 weeks, but you can change this for shorter or longer, depending on how you run things. but I'm just going to stick it with 4 weeks, not 14. Or you could just turn that off if you don't want a gradual approach. And then review it. So you've got section capacities and then the movement approach. And then set up. So the settings is linked throughout the group. So you've got the priority comes linked into the waiting list, section capacities into the group. These two are the only ones that matter to the capacity planning, which I just showed you the setup here. So you shouldn't need to change those. You've got your history, which there isn't, and then a roster. So this is what most section leads will see unless they've got the admin status. Who's going to be leaving soon and needs a review and where they're going. And this will be open to all sections. So as you can see, we're going to have no beavers, few cubs, quite a lot of scouts and quite a lot of young leaders. And then you've got the planning, so you can confirm all or resuggest unreviewed, or do it individually, so confirm or skip, change section, etc. Which, just for this, I'm just going to confirm all, and then can lock the plan, but I'm not going to bother with that. So that's the members stuff. Then you've got your team. So this will be the adults and young leaders. So you can see that there's 3 people. I've got all of which are me, but this is this current account, which has the trustee and parent as well, which will show permission levels, a title, which I have noticed is universal across all groups you're in, the sections, and then your ScoutWorks email address. And then same for other ones, and got a young leader. And then clicking on it will show this stuff. So the ScoutWorks email a personal, any safety stuff, so emergency, medical and dietary, and then the volunteering hours. And same for young leader, although it doesn't show the hours on here. Moving down, you've got your patrols. So this is the scoreboard, and then the other is the organizer. So I'll show it for beavers, but you can change it for all of them. So any of you do have some default ones, but you can also add in your own. So I'm just going to stick with red and blue and create 2 lodges, and then here's your page. So you can drag them if you wanted. If you have certain people in mind that you want to be in a patrol, so say, or lodge in this case, so say I wanted Emma and Alfie to be my lodge leaders, I can put those in, and then with the others I can auto balance, so that will split them between any of them, and then can even print it or even add another one. So you can put in a custom name or just select, and that will do it in. And then once you've got your lodges set up, you'll have access to this scoreboard bit, so you can do it to a lodge or a member. Add points, so you can do individual or bigger numbers, and then reasons. does have some input, so attendance, teamwork, tidy up, etc. And then when. So if you've got enough and you're doing patrol competitions, you could award a tiger patrol 10 points for attendance, and then it'll show up. So I'm just going to do one. So in this case, the patrol that has lodge, that has no beavers, has 5 points, and then it'll show up there. Moving on to the last tab, but not the last bit we're going to look at. You've got the young leaders. So unlike in other systems where you need another place again to track the young leaders' progress, you can do it yourself here, which will link to a district young leader unit if it's set up. But if not, you can track it here, and so could the young leader through the youth portal. So in tests place, they've done their module A and module G. They've done the one mission, see any helping hours. So any of the events will auto be populated, but if it's not something, then you can add it in. Say it's an online meeting for program planning, you can do that in there. And then a reflective log, which comes from the young leaders side, and then got that there. So final bit for today, going into the members bit itself. So this is also available from the parent side, so a lot of this I will be repeating, but you can see there. So you've got your basic info, which you can edit, the first name, last name, date of birth, when they joined the movement, and then the current section, their Lodge 6 patrol, and then their role within said thing. Then their address. Then you've got the parent and carers. So these will have the parent dashboard that I showed you in one of the previous videos. Then the emergency contact. Unlike other systems, you need to put someone there even if they are the same person as a parent, because this is where the info comes for the emergency contact report. So leaders, make sure you get your emergency contacts filled in. Then you've got your medical and consent. So if there's any condition, so this one carries an EpiPen, so any dietary, special education or disabilities can be recorded. The permissions to administer, so within scouting, you all know that we need permission to give the young people certain stuff. So make sure you get your parents to tick this off. Then you've got your consent, so you've got swimming, sensitive info, photographs, and contact sharing. And then you've got this, so standard TSA wording is used for this consent. So on the parent dashboard, these ones will have a pop-up that shows something like photographs can be published on so. The group is not liable for any things taken by third parties, for example. And then, and you can change it, and so can the parent. Then you've got the additional info, so the school, any hobbies, interests, notes. And then you've got your quick action, so message parents, award recognition, view badge reports, an export of PDF, linking siblings, and then what section, and then you can view their attendance across 3, 6, 1 month, or a year. Then you've got the event, so if they've signed up to anything, you'll see it here. Badges, which I'll get into another time. The history, census info, so as it's sensitive info, it is hidden, but if you were to need to change it, click on the small thing there, and you can, so easy as that. And you've got all sorts, or not digital, or prefer to self-describe, but I'm just going to stick with those. And then any disabilities, which does also include any of the, well, all of these. Some of these I haven't even heard of. And you can save those and they get hidden again. And one of the newer things, if you've got a uniform store in your group and you issue stuff out, then you can issue uniform. So you can select who it is, so Alfie, and then if you had any items saved, they'll pop up, which I haven't. Any notes, so given an investiture, for instance, then any equipment. So this is only done to volunteer account, so this member can't. And that summed up the people side of the ScoutWorks. I know that was a lot to take in. Feel free to pause, rewind, and look at whatever bits that you need. And I hope you all enjoyed. Goodbye.